The way I don't know why that sentence made me want to punch something. Never, never. Hey, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Kaylee, and this is Read Rant Review, where, you guessed it, I read books and I do rant reviews. I give you a beat-by-beat, chapter-by-chapter breakdown of a book that you guys voted for. Last week, I had you guys vote on yet another Colleen Hoover book, and Never, Never won. This is a book that Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher co-wrote in 2016. It has 577 pages, which is atrocious. And currently on Goodreads, it is sitting at a 3.29 with 193,000 ratings. Before we get into the review, just in case you're new to the channel, hey, this is a Colleen Hoover hater account. So if you like Colleen Hoover, if you like this book, anything like that, I'll catch you in the next one. Before we get into the chapter by chapter breakdown, I do have the same 3 disclaimers that I have on all of my videos. I'll give you the book description so you know that what we're getting into in a general sense, and then we'll dive right in. So the first disclaimer that I have on all of my videos is, unsurprisingly, this will contain all of the spoilers. Disclaimer number 2 is the fact that this review is not for Colleen Hoover, or Taryn Fisher, or friends, fans, family, stans, anything of the like. As stated, Colleen Hoover hater account. So much so that I created a Colleen Hoover bingo card derogatory, and one of my phenomenal subscribers, Kelly, turned it into a digital bingo sheet that you can find in the description box below if you would like to play along as we go through this video. And the third disclaimer is a content or trigger warning that I like to put on all of these videos so that you know what we're getting into. Most notably is the fact that we are, of course, I feel like we always are in every single Colleen Hoover book I have ever covered, we're talking about 17-year-olds that are still in high school. Yes, the setting for this book is in fact in high school, and not only that. Worse than that, though, is the fact that one of the main characters is being groomed by the guidance counselor. Like, super disgusting thing going on there, so just an immediate heads up about that. There's also an animal death much later in the book, as well as some violence, some bullying, some drug and alcohol use. With that, I'll read you the book description real quick off of Goodreads, and then we'll get right into this. Charlie Winwood and Silas Nash have been best friends since they could walk. They've been in love since the age of 14. But as of this morning, they are complete strangers. Their first kiss, their first fight, the moment they fell in love. Every memory has vanished. Now, Charlie and Silas must work together to uncover the truth about what happened to them and why. But the more they learn about the couple they used to be, the more they question why they were ever together to begin with. Forgetting is terrifying, but remembering may be worse. This book was so bad. I got 30% of the way through it before I stopped reading. I started skimming and skipping through and found a Spark Notes, Cliff Notes version just to get the chapter description so I could tell you about it, because God forbid anybody waste their time to read 570 pages of this nonsense. I feel like I wasted enough time getting through like the 200 that I did. Yeah, 201. Literally on the 200th page I threw in the towel. So this might get a little different by the time we get to that point in this video. Might have a little bit of a different vibe, but we'll see how it goes. I'll go ahead and read you this first little bit of how the book opens so you get a vibe for the writing, because it's something. I've never read a Taryn Fisher book, so I couldn't tell you who is writing which chapter, or if that's how they did it, like one person, like they took turns writing chapters, or if this was co-authored in a different way. But anyway, we'll start off so you can understand the struggle that I dealt with. Chapter 1, Charlie's POV. She's the female main character. A crash. Books fall to the speckled linoleum floor. They skid a few feet, whirling in circles, and stop near feet. My feet. I don't recognize the black sandals or the red toenails, but they move when I tell them to, so they must be mine, right? A bell rings, shrill. I jump, my heart racing. My eyes move left and right as I scope out my environment, trying not to give myself away. What the hell kind of bell was that? Where am I? Kids with backpacks walk briskly into the room, talking and laughing. A school bell. They slide into desks, their voices competing in volume. I see movement at my feet and jerk in surprise. Someone is bent over, gathering up the books on the floor. A red-faced girl with glasses. Before she stands up, she looks at me with something like fear and then scurries off. People are laughing. When I look around, I think they're laughing at me, but it's the girl with the glasses that they're looking at. And so Charlie wakes up to the bell at school. She's about to start her history class. Also, if you see my hand flicking, there's a fly around me that you might not see on camera. I'm not just losing my mind, okay? So she wakes up randomly at 11 a.m. when this bell rings. She's about to start her history class, and she has no idea what is going on. She is, however, a high school student right outside of New Orleans. The only thing of note in this class is that she notices a cute boy that is just staring at her. Dark hair, of course, and his name is Silas Nash. And so when class is over and she goes to lunch, she ends up sitting next to said cute boy. Turns out it's her ex-boyfriend that she has absolutely zero memory of, but she's able to kind of piece it together with the way that the friend group and everybody is talking to and about them. And in chapter 2, from Silas's point of view, he goes into his English class and Charlie ends up coming up and sitting next to him. And she asks if he's okay, because she can clock that there's like at least something going on. And she asks as much, and he's thinking, she's worried about me, about us, maybe. Us? It's italicized. I want to ask her if she knows what might have happened to me, but I don't want to scare her. How do I explain that I don't know her? How do I explain this to anyone? I've spent the last 3 hours trying to act natural. At first, I was convinced I must have used some kind of illegal substance that caused me to black out. But this is different from blacking out. This is different from being high or drunk, and I have no idea how I even know that. I don't even remember anything beyond 3 hours ago. Class starts, and he's thinking to himself, this is so stupid. Do I work? Do I mow lawns for a living? Oh, because he looks at his hand and there's like calluses. So yeah, do I work? Do I mow lawns for a living? Maybe it's from football. During lunch, I decided to use my time to observe everyone around me, and I learned I have football practice this afternoon. Never mind. I have no idea what time or where, but I've somehow got to make it through the last few hours without knowing when or where I'm supposed to go. What? When or where I'm supposed to be. I may not have any sort of recollection right now, but I'm learning that I'm very good at faking it. Too good, maybe. I flip my other hand over and find the same rough calluses on that palm. Maybe I live on a farm. No, I don't. I don't know how I know, but even without being able to recall anything, I seem to have an immediate sense of what assumptions of mine are accurate and which ones are not. It could just be process of elimination rather than intuition or memory. For example, I don't feel like someone who lives on a farm would be wearing the clothes I have on. Nice clothes. Trendy? Looking down at my shoes, if someone asked me if I have rich parents, I would tell them, yeah, I do. And I don't know how, because I don't remember my parents. I don't know where I live, who I live with, or if I look like my mom or dad. I don't even know what I look like. And so then he stands abruptly and runs off to the bathroom to try and figure out what he looks like. And while he's in there, he runs into this big guy who is trying to fight him, basically. He's like, we still aren't settled from Friday night. Is that what you're here for now? You want to fight? Freaking absolute insanity. He tries to play it off, just tells the guy he's feeling sick. And the guy calls him Silas Nash. And Silas is thinking to himself, what the hell kind of name is that anyway? In which case, I ask myself that in every single one of these books by this freaking woman, but at least there's a level of self-awareness, I guess. So the guy that wants to fight him leaves the bathroom, and all of a sudden, Charlie appears to, again, ask him if he's doing okay. She stays where she is, uninfected by my instruction for her to go back to class. She reminds me of one of those animals on springs you ride on at the playground. The kind you push, but they just bounce right back up. I feel like if someone were to shove her shoulders, she would lean back, feet in place, and then bounce right back up again. I don't remember what those things are called, but I do make a mental note that somehow I remember them. I've made a lot of mental notes in the last 3 hours. I'm a senior. My name is Silas. Nash might be my last name. My girlfriend's name is Charlie. I play football, and I know what jellyfish look like. And that's what I suffered through, guys, for 200 freaking pages. Like, this is absolutely insane. So anyway, so she confronts him. She asks him what her last name is. He obviously doesn't know, and so she ends up telling him she also has no memory. She passes out for some reason, I guess overwhelmed by the fact that neither of them remember each other or have any idea what's going on. but they realize that they both lost their memories at the same time at 11 a.m. on the dot. And in chapter 3, from Charlie's POV, they decide to leave school. They're just going to skip the rest of the day. They're going to try and figure out what's going on. Charlie does not have a car. Silas does. He has his key fob, so he ends up setting the alarm off on the car so they can go and find it. It's a Land Rover. The way I'm rolling my eyes right now, the idea of a 17-year-old driving a Land Rover is disgusting to me. And they use the GPS to drive to this very, very fancy bougie house. And they go inside because they're like, okay, so this is where I live. This is my car. Maybe if we go snoop around the house or something, we'll be able to find more information about what is going on. So they go through, they're poking their heads in all of the bedrooms until they find one that just seems right. It seems like it could be Silas's. And there's a bunch of framed photos everywhere on the walls. So Charlie, in her great knowledge, in her wonderful skills of deduction, realizes that he probably likes photography. And then chapter 4, back to Silas. Bro, the way I'm trying to go through this so quickly, you have no idea. Silas's POV. I tossed the comforter out of the way to get a better look at the mess at the foot of the bed. Smears of mud caked into the sheet, dried. Pieces of it crack and roll away when I pull the sheet taut. Is that? Charlie stops speaking and pulls the corner of the top sheet from my hand, tossing it away to get a better look at the fitted sheet beneath it. Is that blood? I follow her eyes up the sheet toward the head of the bed. Next to the pillow is a smeared ghost of a handprint. I immediately look down at my hands. Nothing. No traces of blood or mud whatsoever. What does this mean? She asks, turning to face me. She's holding a sheet of paper. I walk to her and take it out of her hands. It looks like it's been folded and unfolded so many times. There's a small worn hole forming in the center of it. The sentence across the page reads, "Never stop. Never forget." I drop the sheet of paper on the desk, wanting it out of my hands. The paper feels like evidence, too. I don't want to touch it. I don't know what it means. I need water. She's like, did you write it? He says, how would I know if I wrote it or not? And he's getting frustrated with her. She turns and walks swiftly to her backpack. She digs around the inside and pulls out a pen and then walks back to me, shoving it in my hand. Copy it. She's bossy. I look down at the pen, rolling it between my fingers. My thumb rubs across the embossed words printed down the side of it. Winwood Nash Financial Group. Eventually, they decide that they've seen enough in the bedroom. They work their way downstairs. They go to the kitchen. Shocker, this guy is a freaking housekeeper. Her name is Ezra, and she is pleasantly surprised to see Charlie. And makes mention to Silas kind of offhand while Charlie is away about how she's happy that they're talking again and how he's loved her ever since he was able to walk. And she whips them up a little bit of a grilled cheese. It's super cute. And then Charlie finally looks at her phone, and she has a bunch of missed calls from her mom about her missing school. And then using her driver's license, they use her address, put it in the GPS in his, again, freaking Land Rover, and he drives her home. Before she goes inside, they make a promise to each other that they're not going to tell anybody about their amnesia. And the one funny thing, the one part I have highlighted, is she finally answers her mom's phone call, and her mom is talking crap a little bit about her skipping school, which is understandable. She makes some other cutting remarks about her hanging out with Nash, and when she hangs up, Charlie inhales slowly, turning to face her window. When she exhales, a small circle of fog appears against the window near her mouth. Silas? She faces me and arches a brow. I think my mother may be a bitch. Oh. In chapter 5, Charlie gets to her house, and her mother is very sloppy. Very much can tell she's super wasted at I guess it's probably 2 p.m. now. And she ultimately just ignores her mom and pushes past her. And then same thing, similar to what they did at Silas's house, Charlie goes through and kind of pokes her head into all of the bedrooms to try and figure out which one is hers. And she finds that she shares a room with her little sister, Jeanette. She tries to sift through the dresser, she's looking through all the drawers, everything that she can to try and find more pieces of her life that she has forgot. And instead, she finds her sister's journal and decides to read it. And in the journal, literally the first entry is talking about how much she hates her and how much of a piece of crap that her sister is. And then her phone goes off again. Charlie's phone goes off again. And this time she has a text message from a guy named Brian, who's very, very clearly flirting with her. She ignores it. And the only thing to note, some of the things I have highlighted from this chapter are the house is smaller than I thought. Just past where my mother is crying on the floor, There's a kitchen and a small living room. Her mom's crying because she asked her mom why she was drunk in the middle of the day, and the mom got all weird about it. They sit squat and orderly, filled to the max with furniture that doesn't look like it belongs, expensive things in an inexpensive house. And some of the stuff that she found was in one of her pairs of pants. She found a wadded up receipt from last Friday, and she's like air drying it so she can see what exactly it is. And she texts Silas asking for a ride. It says, "Me. Silas, I need a ride." I wait again, growing irritated with his delay in response. I am impatient, I think. Me. There's a guy named Brian who's texting me. He's really flirty. I can ask him for a ride if you're busy. My phone pings a second later. Silas. Hell no. On my way. I smile. I shouldn't. In chapter 6, we're back in Silas's POV. He picks up Charlie. He gets a text message from his little brother, Landon. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. I just found a plot hole. So unexpected. Okay, so wait. Actually, I'm really confused. So he goes to pick up Charlie, and she gets in the car, and then he says, my brother called. He needs a ride. And then goes on to say that he doesn't know his little brother's name. So then what's his brother's name in his phone? Is it just brother? I can't really judge because like my sibling's name in my phone is not their name, but still, that just seems weird. So anyway, so they pull up to the parking lot to pick up the little brother after a practice, and then this other guy comes running up to the car to confront them. Turns out this guy is Brian. So Brian pretty much ignores Silas and starts pulling Charlie out of the vehicle. She tells him to like F off, that she's going to stay with Silas. And Brian says, she's cheating on you, bro. Brian yells after me. I stop in my tracks. I slowly turn and face him. He's standing up right now, and from the looks of his posture, he's expecting me to hit him. When I don't, he continues to provoke me. With me, more than once. It's been going on for over 2 months now. And Silas says, that's nice, Brian. Do you want a trophy? I wish I could bottle up the expression on his face and release it anytime I need a good laugh. Once I'm back inside the car, I pull out of the parking lot more dramatically than I probably should. When we're back on the road, heading toward my house, I finally find it in me to look at Charlie. She's staring right back at me. We keep our eyes locked for a few seconds while driving a vehicle full of children, gauging one another's reaction. Right before I'm forced to look back at the road in front of me, I see her smile. We both start laughing. She relaxes against her headseat and says, I can't believe I was cheating on you with that guy. You must have done something that really pissed me off. I smile at her. Nothing short of murder should have made you cheat on me with that guy. A throat clears in the back seat, and I immediately glance in the rearview mirror. I forgot all about my brother. He leans forward until he's positioned between the front and middle seats. He looks at Charlie and then at me. Let me get this straight. You two are laughing about this? He's like, you guys have been dating for 4 years and she cheats on you and you just laugh at this? And then he goes on to say that you two are worse than an episode of Jerry Springer. And Silas is thinking, Jerry Springer is a talk show host. How do I know this? I wonder if Charlie remembers this. He's none of this makes sense. How can we remember celebrities, people we've never met? How do I know Kanye West married a Kardashian? How do I know that Robin Williams died? R.I.P. I can remember everyone I've never met, but I can't remember the girl I've been in love with for over 4 years. Uneasiness takes over inside of me, pumping through my veins until it settles in my heart. I spend the next few miles silently naming off all the names and faces of people I remember. Presidents, actors, politicians, musicians, reality stars. But I can't for the life of me remember the name of my little brother who is climbing out of the back seat right now. I watch him as he makes his way inside of our house, and I continue to watch the door, long after it closes behind him. I'm staring at my house just like Charlie was staring at hers. And then he starts to spiral a little bit, thinking about her cheating on him. This is so freaking messy for 17-year-olds, and it literally just keeps getting worse. And I'll say it, actually I'll save it. I'll say it in a minute. So he asks Charlie, he's like, so why do you think you slept with him? As if she doesn't have amnesia as well. And she's like, you cannot be mad at me for that. I tilt my head and I look at her in disbelief. We were together for 4 years, Charlie. You can't blame me for being a little upset. She shakes her head. They were together for 4 years, Charlie and Silas, not the two of us, she says. Besides, who's to say you were an angel? Have you ever looked through your own texts? I shake my head. I'm afraid to now, and don't do that. Don't do what? Don't refer to us in the third person. You are her, and I am him. Whether we like who we are or not. Oh my God. Dude, the tenses of this shit is messing me up so bad. whether we like who we were or not. Whole bunch more back and forth. Eventually, Charlie gets a phone call from her little sister because her mom forgot to pick her up. And so now Silas and her are driving across town to go and pick up Jeanette. Just a little sassy little sister moment. Charlie fires a couple more questions, but her sister ignores her completely, giving her full attention to the phone in her hands. When we pull into Charlie's driveway, her sister begins to open her door before the car even comes to a stop. "Tell Mom I'll be late," Charlie says as her sister climbs out of the car. And when do you think Dad will be home?" Her sister pauses. She stares at Charlie with contempt. 10 to 15, according to the judge. She slams the door. I wasn't expecting that, and apparently neither was Charlie. She slowly turns in her seat until she's facing forward again. She inhales a slow breath and carefully releases it. "My sister hates me. I live in a dump. My mom's an alcoholic. My father's in prison. I cheat on you." She looks at me. "Why the hell are you even dating me? If I knew her better, I would hug her, hold her hand, something. I don't know what to do. There's no protocol on how to console your girlfriend of 4 years who you just met this morning." The way I don't know why that sentence made me want to punch something. "Well, according to Ezra, I've loved you since before I could walk, but I guess that's hard to let go of." She laughs under her breath. "You must have some fierce loyalty because I'm even beginning to hate me." Which again, I'm glad we're able to admit because I also freaking hate her. And so they decide they go driving around, they pull off into some parking lot and decide that they're going to go through their phones to find more about each other. And it gets to this really awkward point. And again, I just would like to remind everybody in the room that we are talking about 17-year-olds, okay? They're going through the phone, and eventually they find a video from when Silas broke into Charlie's house on her 17th birthday to wish her a happy birthday. And it's like pitch black, and they start making out. There's a bunch of noises off camera, and I'm like, hey, Colleen Hoover, why in the fuck are we detailing this again about 17-year-old children? Like, no part of this book, A, needed to happen with people this age, and B, did that scene need to be detailed? Like, there was no reason for that to get talked about at all in terms of like character growth or anything. It could have just ended with a little smooch and then video ends. No, it is like full on stuff happening to the point that one of their friends shows up in the parking lot, opens the door, and is like, "Oh my God, Char and Sai are watching a sex tape. Hello?" Or, "You're okay, it's fine." It's not fine. It's actually really fucking gross, but it's fine. Anyway, the friends are trying to pull them out of the car to like go and do something or go party. I don't know. They ignore it and they go and drive off though. And she ends up just being kind of weird after this whole finding this video. She asks him to take her home. He says, "Good night. Call me I'll be fine," she says quickly, cutting me off. "See you in the morning." She exits the car and begins walking toward her house. I want to yell after her to tell her wait. I want to know if she's wondering the same thing I'm wondering. What does never, never mean? Because in the video, sorry I forgot it because I was too distracted by the absolute nonsense of that scene. In the middle of it, they say something about like, actually, let me find the quote. I don't want to misquote this for you. Oh no, there is nothing. There is no context. They just whisper never, never at each other. I thought there was like a conversation that I missed. Just like randomly making out and whisper never, never at each other. This shit is so dumb. So in chapter 7, back in Charlie's POV, she gets home. She goes through the door. Mom is passed out. Sister's eating Doritos for dinner. And Charlie's like, okay, I have like $28 to my name. It's literally all I have. Obviously, we're broke. The fridge is empty. The cupboards are empty. But I need to feed Jeanette something, though. And so they take the mom's car. And she goes to the only place that she knows of, which was the place on that receipt that she got out of her pocket in one of the earlier chapters. And it is a diner in the French Quarter. So Jeanette gets in the car and they go down there. When they're there, one of the servers who's working recognizes her. And he's like, oh, hey. He's like, oh, hey, Charlie. That's what it is, right? And she's all freaked out because she's like, I must come here a lot. Oh my God, this is so crazy. And when they're in there, it's not a normal diner. It's more of like a club that just happens to have food. And so Jeanette is like, girl, what in the hell? Because Jeanette's probably like 14, 15. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm questioning any of it. But the server makes a mention about how he didn't expect to see her back so soon. And she's like, back so soon? Why? What do you mean? And he's like, well, your man was pretty pissed. I thought he was going to blow his shit before he got kicked out. Blow his shit. I changed my tone so it's not so much of a question. Blow his shit. Yeah, that was... You looked pretty pissed, Dover said. I can't blame you. You might have liked it here if Silas didn't ruin it for you. Yeah. And then they just eat a little bit of food and they end up going home. When they're inside, kind of going their separate ways, she asks Jeanette if she knows where her iPod is. Jeanette says, I don't know, maybe it's in the attic with all of your other crap. Other crap, the attic? I suddenly feel excited. Maybe there's more to me than the bland bedspread and stack of bad novels. I want to ask her what kind of crap and why my crap is in the attic instead of our shared bedroom, but Jeanette has stuck the buds back in her ears and is working hard to ignore me. I decide the best route would be to go up to the attic and check things out for myself. Now, where is the attic? And it is this entire freaking book, my guy. I cannot make it clear enough to you of how repetitive this idea of like, I don't remember anything. Now, where would this place be again? Now, what does all of this mean again? I don't know what's going on. The entire time. And like, I swear to God, I got the point. I'm on page 115 right now telling you about these things. I told you I'm going through this fast. I'm sparing you the gruesome, repetitive details about hearing about how these people can't remember anything, as if you and I are stupid and we got amnesia halfway through reading. Chapter 8, we're back into Silas's point of view, and it took until chapter 8, until page 120, for anything in this freaking book to actually happen. He goes home. While he was hanging out with Charlie, he was getting some like angry text messages from his dad because he missed football practice and skipped like school that day. And so his dad's going to confront him when he gets to the house. So he goes up there, he faces his father, still no idea who he is, just obviously is assuming that this crazy man yelling at him in this house is his father, because who else would it be, I guess? So he's in the office and his dad is freaking out about him spending time with Charlie. Because we had an understanding, Silas, me and you. I wasn't going to push you to testify if you swore to me you wouldn't see that man's daughter again. One of his hands flails toward a locked cabinet while his other runs through what's left of his thinning hair. I know you don't think she's the one who took those files from this office, but I know she did. And the only reason I haven't pushed it further is because you swore to me that we wouldn't have to deal with that family again. And here you are. He shudders, literally shudders. Here you are bringing her to this house like the last 12 months never even happened. More frustrated hand flailing, twisted facial expressions. That girl's father almost ruined this family, Silas. Does that not mean a damn thing to you? He just keeps yelling and throwing stuff around, and eventually the little brother comes in and he's like, Silas, you got a phone call from the coach. He doesn't. The little brother is just a really good brother and is getting him out of that situation. And so with this idea, he's like, okay, so our dads know each other or work together or something. There's some weird stuff going on. And so he remembers on that pen that Charlie handed him earlier in the day, it said Winwood Nash Financial Group. And so he Googles it. Thank God he remembers how to Google things. The finance gurus Clark Nash and Brett Winwood, co-founders of Winwood Nash Financial Group, have been charged with 4 counts of conspiracy, fraud, and illegal trading. Partners for over 20 years, the two business moguls are now placing blame on each other, both claiming to have no knowledge of the illegal practices uncovered during a recent investigation. Another article titled, Clark Nash cleared of charges, company co-chair Brett Winwood sentenced to 15 years for fraud and embezzlement. What in the heck? He tries to keep going through news articles, but the laptop that he's using ends up dying and he can't find the charger anywhere. He starts to use his phone to search, but that also dies, and the only phone charger he can find plugs into the laptop. I keep looking because I need to know exactly what happened to make these two families hate each other so much. My guy, what else do you need to know? They placed blame on each other for embezzlement. What are you confused about? I lift the mattress, thinking maybe the charger could be stuck behind the bed somehow. I don't find the charger, but what I do find looks like a notebook. I slide it out from under the mattress, and then I take a seat on top of the bed. Right when I open it to the first page, my phone vibrates with an incoming text. I thought your phone died. But, it's about to die. Okay, I guess it's not dead yet. Dude, this is so fucking dumb. This is so bad. It's a text from Charlie asking how things are with his father. He Charlie's thinking, I want to learn more before deciding what I want to share with her. I ignore the text and open the notebook to find stacks of papers stuffed into a folder. Across the top, the papers all read Winwood Nash Financial Group, but I don't understand any of them. I also don't understand why these were hidden beneath my mattress. Clerk Nash's words from downstairs repeat in my head. I know you didn't think she took those files from this office, Silas, but I know she did. Looks like he was wrong, but why would I have taken them? And what would I need? What would I have needed with them? Who was I trying to protect? I'm about to throw my iPad across the room. I know you just had amnesia, my guy, but Jesus Christ. Whatever, they text a little bit back and forth and flirt a tiny bit. I shove the notebook back under my mattress and see a wall charger, so I plug it into my phone. So it was just out in the open? I'm too exhausted to keep searching tonight, so I kick off my shoes. As soon as I turn the lamp off and close my eyes, my phone vibrates. And it's a goodnight message from Charlie. Her lack of endearment doesn't go unnoticed, but for some inexplicable reason, the text makes me smile. Typical Charlie, I think. I hate it here, actually. Actually, I think this might be the worst book I have ever read. I don't DNF books very often. You guys have heard me talk about this before. But the only reason I have continued and I will continue doing this is for you guys. This is so bad. Charlie's POV in chapter 9, we're back to her. She's in the attic and she finds a bunch of her stuff boxed up and she ends up finding a couple of love letters from Silas that are, again, pretty suggestive for a 17-year-old to be talking about. And then she has a horrible nightmare. Jeanette wakes her up saying that, she doesn't have any more days to be able to skip or miss school. And then one of their friends, or one of Charlie's friends, Amy, picks them up and she's taking the both of them to school, whatever. They're having some discussion. Amy's like, yeah, what the heck's up with you and Silas? Are you guys working stuff out? What's going on? And Charlie says, if you had to describe my relationship with Silas to a stranger, how would you describe it? Amy says she's just playing games and gets frustrated with her and ignores her. So they get to school, and as she's going through the hallway, she ends up getting confronted by Brian, right? The guy that she'd been cheating on Silas with for 2 months, blah, 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 that guy. So he confronts her and he says, I love you, Charlie. Oh my God, I feel itchy all over. I take a step back, looking around for someone to help me out of this. Now is a really bad time for me, Brian. I need to find Amy, and I know you guys have history, but you've been unhappy for a really long time. That guy's a dick, Charlie. You saw what happened with him and the shrimp. I'm surprised. What are you talking about? He looks put out, that I've interrupted his speech. I'm talking about Silas and... No, the shrimp thing. People are stopping to watch us now. Clusters of nosiness at the lockers. Eyes on my face. I'm so uncomfortable with this. I hate it. Her. Brian jerks his head left just as the girl pushes through the doors and makes her way past us. When she sees me looking, her face turns a bright pink color like a shrimp. These people are assholes. Oh my God. I recognize her from my class yesterday. She was the one on the floor picking up the books. She's tiny. Her hair is an ugly shade of greenish brown, like she tried to dye it herself and it went terribly wrong. But even if she hadn't dyed it, it just looks sad. Jagged, uneven bangs, oily and lank. She has a smattering of pimples across her forehead and a nose that's pugged. My first thought is ugly. But it's more of a fact than a judgment. She skitters away before I can blink, disappearing into a crowd of onlookers. I have a feeling she hasn't left. She's waiting right behind their backs. She wants to hear. I felt something. When I saw her face, I felt something. Oh, okay, I guess. What the hell? That was so mean. I guess that's the bullying aspect. Okay. It's so rude for no reason, and we'll talk about it later. Actually, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this exact moment of her calling this girl ugly, okay? Because we'll circle back. Put a pin in it. Anyway, and so then Brian is like, it's me or Silas, Charlie. You have to pick. It's one of us. And Charlie says, then my answer is Silas. And then we cut to Silas's point of view from that morning. So when he first got to school... his first idea was to stop into the administration office to see if he can get a copy of his schedule, because they woke up in fourth period, so they have no idea what the first 3 are. And so he's trying to maybe ask for a copy of his schedule and Charlie's schedule so they can figure out what's going on. But the second that he steps foot into said administration office, the secretary lady says, oh, are you here to see Miss Ashley? He says, no, I'm here for this other thing. But before he can say anything, Miss Ashley, who is the school guidance counselor, pops her head out of the door and says, oh, Silas, come on in. I have a few minutes. I didn't know you were coming by. Goes into her office. She immediately shuts and locks the door behind him. And you can imagine what happens next. He learns the hard way that they have had some type of inappropriate relationship. And I'm not reading or detailing any of it because, again, it is incredibly disgusting. And I don't understand the idea of a fully grown-ass woman writing about power dynamics and a fully grown-ass woman hooking up with a 17-year-old boy. That is super weird. And it's just weird and gross, and it's not one of those relationships that get talked about in a way for, like, you know, pointing out the problematic behavior, or talked about in a way of like, oh guys, this is how you can identify predatory behavior and not let it happen to you. It's not some PSA to the young adults in the freaking audience. It is just like a creepy old woman being a creepy old woman. You know what I mean? Full offense. I don't care. So he realizes immediately how wrong this situation is, and he can't believe that they had something between them. He's really uncomfortable with it and like grossed out, but also kind of proud of himself. Hold on, where does he say this at? The 18-year-old irresponsible side of me wants to high-five myself for having apparently snagged the school counselor, but the reasonable side of me wants to punch myself for doing something like that to Charlie. Charlie is obviously the better choice, and I hate knowing that I was putting that relationship at risk. But then again, so was Charlie. And that's that shit I'm talking about, that like this isn't for some PSA thing. This is just weird and gross, and I don't get it. And again, this goes back to the point I was going to say earlier about these don't have to be high school kids. This literally could have been like a workplace romance, and he was hooking up with the boss and she, you know, slept with another coworker or something like that. Like they could have been working at their father's firm and had amnesia about their father's firm thing falling apart. This all literally could have happened as adults. There is no reason, again, other than creepy old women being creepy old women. What? I don't get it. Literally at all. Anyway, so the guidance counselor gives him the schedules. She was kind of upset though. She was kind of put off by it. She's like, oh, you want Charlie's? That's like really weird. And he says, nah, baby girl, I wanted it so I can make sure I don't have to run into her or some dumb shit. I don't want to talk about it again. I'm so like, I'm seething with rage right now. You can't tell, but I am. And so anyway, he has their schedules. And so he goes to try and find Charlie now. They have lockers right next to each other, and when he goes over there, he runs into this whole scene between Charlie and Brian and him confronting her. And Silas walks through the crowd, walks right up to Charlie, grabs her hand, and just like pulls her away. There's full eye contact with Brian the whole time. He's not going to fight him, not going to do anything. Just ultimate power move, just take the girl and walk away. I guess. Sure. But of course, Charlie being, you know, Miss Independent over here, sassy, always having a freaking attitude, is like, oh, you thought I needed your help? And then immediately apologizes. And she's like, I'm sorry. I was just prodding him for information. That's the only reason I was with him in the hallway just now. I wasn't flirting. Her response catches me off guard. I don't like the look of guilt in her expression. That's not why I pulled her away from him, but I realize now that she thinks I really am upset with her for being with him. I could tell she didn't want to be there, but maybe she doesn't realize how well I've learned to read her in 24 hours. Less than that, actually. In the way I want to vomit everywhere. Bleh. I take a step toward her. When she lifts her eyes to meet mine, I smile. Would it make you feel better to know I was cheating on you with the guidance counselor? She sucks in a quick rush of air and shock registers on her face. You weren't the only one who wasn't committed to us, Charlie. Apparently, we both had issues we needed to work out, so don't be so hard on yourself. And I don't think I need to say this to my audience, but just in case you need to hear it for whatever godforsaken reason, it's not a relationship with the guidance counselor. He wasn't in some, like, you know, cheating on his girlfriend with the guidance counselor. The guidance counselor was in a position of power and, like, grooming this young man, right? Like, it was a not healthy thing. It's not a relationship. And then to market this for young adult readers is insane to me. At the end of the day, he can't miss practice again. So he goes off to football practice and he gives his car keys to Charlie. And his friends are like, whoa, you don't even let me drive your car. I look over at Andrew and I shrug. You're not the one that I'm in love with. Charlie spits out her drink with a burst of laughter. I glance over at her, and her smile is huge. It lights up her entire face, somehow even making the brown of her eyes seem less dark. I may not remember anything about her, but I would bet her smile was my favorite part of her. So at football practice, he's trying to put his pads on and he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't remember anything at all. And so he's just like taking his time and like hoping in the luckily the locker room has their names on said lockers, so he knows at least where to go and pretend to get dressed, and just kind of wastes time until all of the other guys leave. And then he's digging around his locker and he finds this like red box thing. He opens it and it's a bunch of letters to Charlie and like from Charlie and just some little mementos and weird stuff. And in the middle of looking through it, his coach comes in yelling at him to get on the field. He goes out on the field. He is the quarterback, I guess. I think he's the quarterback. I don't even care to look at it again. I don't even care to tell you the truth, to be frank here. He goes out there, though, and everybody's looking at him to, like, pick the play. I feel so bad. My husband's listening to me talk, and I obviously have no idea what I'm saying about football right now. I can just, like, feel him cringing behind the screen. So they're all looking at him to pick, like, the play. And he doesn't know what to do, so he says, yeah, you guy, do the thing. They start to play. Dude gets laid out immediately. Also, he didn't have shoulder pads on. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So he gets fucking tackled to the ground. His little brother's on the team. His little brother comes over, and he goes, well, just be sick. Pretend to be sick. He lies to the coach, tells him he has strep, and he shouldn't have been out here in the first place, but he's really dedicated because they got a big game tomorrow, I guess. So the coach is like, Silas, get your ass in there and get him a Z-Pack. So he goes inside. He gets, like, back in his normal clothes and he goes to leave and go see Charlie because she was waiting for him. He starts to drive and just drives directly to his house, not asking Charlie if she wants to go over there, not asking if she wants to get dropped off at her house first. His immediate thing is he's going to go home and take a shower. And so they, like, show up at his house and she's like, WTF? And he's like, I got to go take a shower. You want to come inside? And I was like, wow, you've only had memory for 24 hours and you're already a fuckboy? That's pretty impressive timing, actually. And she's like, no, it's cool. I'm going to wait in here. I'm going to wait right here in the car. Actually, I'll see you in a minute. I don't argue. I close the door and head inside to shower, thinking about the small smile I swear was playing in the corner of her mouth. And while winning her over again isn't my main priority, it's definitely the new backup plan in case neither of us can figure out how to revert back to who we were before yesterday. Because even through the bullshit, her cheating on me with Brian, me cheating on her with the counselor, our family's in turmoil, we still obviously tried to make it work. There had to be something there, something deeper than attraction or a simple childhood bond that made me fight for her. I want to feel that again. I want to remember what it feels like to love someone like that, and not just anyone. I want to know what it feels like to love Charlie. Chapter 11 is really just the two of them talking back and forth about kind of what they found so far. So she tells him about the diner on Bourbon Street and the whole fight thing. And they're trying to figure out, like, what is the running theory, guys? Like, what do we, well, guys, it's two of them. What do you think happened? Why do you think this would have happened? Bop, 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 right? Back and forth. And she suggests that maybe it's like a fairy tale of sorts, you know, they're cursed until they find the solution. They're like, okay, well, so maybe it's like Sleeping Beauty. Like, maybe if we just kiss, we'll get all of our memories back. And they're 17, so you know what? I'm not even going to fault them for saying such dumb shit, but I will fault the 35-year-old woman that wrote this. The only other thing, too, is that this ends in, she says, there's this girl, I want to talk to her, I think maybe she knows something. A few people have referred to her as the shrimp. Silas's eyebrows draw together. What do you mean? Who is she? I don't know. She's only in a couple of my classes. It's just a feeling. We stand among the group of onlookers, and Silas reaches for my hand. For the first time, I don't pull away from him. I let his warm fingers intertwine with mine. With his free hand, he takes a picture of the violinist. When he looks down at me, so I can remember the first time I held your hand. Oh my God, I want to vomit. So they're walking along Bourbon Street, and she gets flashed, and she's like, oh my God, Silas, I saw my first penis. And again, I just want to remind everybody the age of these two people. And he responds with an explanation. And then she was like, why are people wearing all these tacky beads? And then we get like the freaking Poindexter definition of what Mardi Gras is. They're walking along. She's like, I'm hungry. Feed me. And they go into a restaurant. And when she walks in front of him, he notices she has this little peak of a tattoo on her shoulder. She has a tattoo on her shoulder. It's of a tree line. She doesn't believe it because she's like, oh my God, tattoos are gross. I can't believe that I would actually have one. And she's also like, I don't know why I would have a tree line, but it must mean something, because the Charlie that I think I know based off of the 24 hours of experience of absolutely nothing I've been able to find, I'm coming to a moral conclusion that she would only have tattoos that mean something to her. and can't figure out what's going on. So they end up in this restaurant, whatever. After they order, she gets the bright idea and she says, Silas, come to the restroom with me. So they get in there. She shuts and locks the door behind them. It's a single stall. He gets a little excited. He's like, oh, okay, are we about to make out? Because why else would we be in a bathroom together? And she tells him to take his shirt off. And again, he's getting like excited for what's about to happen. And she's like, no, dumbass, I want to see if you have any tattoos. And so he turns around. Hold on, this might be the dumbest thing I've ever read in my entire life, which means a lot right now. He does have a tattoo, a strand of pearls, she says as she slides back into the booth. Black pearls. It's about 6 inches in diameter. Pearls. She nods. Like a necklace? She nods again and takes a sip of her drink. You have a tattoo of a woman's necklace on your back. She smiles. So how do you know they're pearls and not just like black circles? What? 6 inches in diameter. It's just like, it's a... I don't understand. Anyway, he's just such a good little Googler. He ends up finding out that his first name, Silas, I guess in Greek or whatever, Latin, I don't know, I don't care to look, means forest. And so she has a tattoo of his name, basically. And her middle name is Margaret. Sure, we'll go with it. And it means pearls. And so he has a tattoo of her name. So with this revelation, she's a little upset about it because she's like, I can't believe that we were stupid enough to get our names tattooed on each other. But right before that, she was going on a whole rant about the only reason I would ever get a tattoo if it was something that I love and I know I would never get tired of and never regret and something that would mean a lot to me. And so now she's kind of like, you know, looking a little dumb because she just kind of low-key admitted how much she loved him. Maybe, probably, I don't know. So she starts to get weird and kind of clams up. And after they're done eating, decides of like, hey, let's go into one of the tarot shops. Maybe they can, I don't know, reveal something, tell us what's going on in our lives, give us some type of guidance. And so they end up going into this tarot shop next door, and it's very theatric. Silas does not mess with this stuff, does not believe in it or jive with it in any way, and he's kind of upset with how over the top the reader is being. But that's kind of their job, and he understands that. So they do a joint reading. Her fingers fall to the card I pulled out of the deck. Her eyes meet mine, and they move to Charlie's. This card, she said slowly, is your outcome card. Combined with the other cards in the reading, this gives you the answer to why you are here. She flips the card over. The woman doesn't move. Her eyes are locked on the card beneath her fingertips. The room grows eerily quiet, and as if on cue, one of the candles loses its flame. I look down at the outcome card. There aren't any words on it. No title, no picture. The card is blank. I can feel Charlie stiffen in my arms as she stares at the blank card on the table. I shove back from the table and pull Charlie up. Dude, the way this is written is so childish and bad. And we'll get it. Sorry, we're going to derail for 2 seconds. I understand, and I've said this before, I understand why people enjoy Colleen Hoover's writing because it's very short sentences. It's very fast paced, quick, da 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 da. And, kind of super easy to read, super easy to understand writing, but it also is very childish writing, and it's driving me crazy how repetitive everything is, and it makes me want to shank my own eyeballs out, but that's fine. What? Oh, sorry. I don't know if it would have picked you up or not saying that. I didn't mean it like that. My Mr. Read Rant Review got LASIK today, and so he's sitting on the bed behind the screen right now. I shank my eyes out. He got very upset. I take Charlie's face in my hands and I look in her eyes. She planted that card to scare you, Charlie. There are no blank cards in my tarot deck, the woman says. I pause in my tracks and turn around to face her, not because of what she said, but because of the way she said it. She sounded scared. Scared for us? I close my eyes and exhale. She's an actress. Silas, calm down. I push open the door and pull Charlie outside. I don't stop walking until we're around the building and on the other side of the street. Forget all of that, I say. Fortune-telling, tarot reading, it's ridiculous, Charlie. She pulls her face from my shirt and looks up at me. Yeah, ridiculous. Like the both of us waking up in school with no memory of who we are. I close my eyes and pull away from her. I run my hands through her hair, the frustration from the day catching up to me. I can make light of it all with my jokes. I can dismiss her theories, from tarot readings to fairy tales, simply because it doesn't make sense to me. But she's right. None of this makes sense. The more we try to uncover the mystery, the more I feel like we're wasting our damn time. So chapter 13 from Charlie's POV, they are just still walking through Bourbon Street talking about this tarot reading, and maybe they need to go back with more specific questions. And then Charlie's like, I'm not doing any of that again. You're freaking crazy, my guy. They're walking around. A lady falls down. Silas helps her up. And Charlie's like, oh my God, he's such a gentleman. No wonder I have such strong feelings for him. And then they end up back at that diner thing that she went to with Jeanette, where that guy recognized her. And then one of the servers there recognizes him as the guy that tried to start a fight the previous Friday, so they pretty much get kicked out. What we find out, though, is that Brian's dad, right, Brian, the guy that she was cheating on Silas with, Brian's dad owned said diner and was going to give her a job as a server because she was Brian's girl. And then Silas turned up and was going to fight some people, and it was just, again, just messy, dumb stuff. And they end the night deciding that they're going to kiss because, again, this whole fairy tale thing, maybe if we kiss, it'll make everything better. They kiss. Nothing happens. Obviously, they still won't remember anything because this is not, in fact, a fairy tale. I consider telling him the truth, that if I were dead like Snow White and he kissed me like that, surely my heart would kick back to life, that I'd be the one to slay dragons for that kiss, but we don't have time to kiss like that. We need to find out what's happened and how to reverse it. I didn't feel anything, I say. It was just a kiss and it didn't work. A lie that burns my insides so foul. I have to go. I'll see you tomorrow. I lift a hand over my head and wave because I don't want to turn around and look at him. I'm afraid. I want to be with him, but it's not a good idea. Not until we figure more of this out. I think he's going to follow me, so I wave over a cab. I open the door and look back at Silas to show him that I'm fine. I wait until he's past the fountain before I lean down to speak to the driver. Sorry, I changed my mind. I slam the door and step back to the curb. I don't have money for a cab anyway. I'll go back to the diner and ask Amy for a ride. The cabbie peels off and I duck down a different street so Silas won't see me. I need to be alone. I need to think. In chapter 14, Silas is very upset about this whole indifference thing to their kiss and that it didn't work. He's just in his little feels about it. And the next morning, he drives himself and Landon, his little brother, to school. And he is getting a bunch of phone calls, and he realizes that Charlie left her phone in his car like the night before. And he calls Jeanette to let Charlie know that he has said phone. And Jeanette's like, oh, Charlie never came home last night. Uh-oh. And so he rushes. He ends up going to Charlie's house, trying to find her, see if she's there, if maybe she got there while Jeanette went to school or something. He ends up running into her mom. It's a whole thing. He kind of pushes past the mom to go and look around. And eventually the mom comes to again. And she's like, hey, get the hell out of here. And so he leaves after grabbing a letter that is addressed to Charlie off of the kitchen table and starts to drive and whatnot. And he's just really, really worried and concerned about her. One interesting comment that we do get from the brother that I forgot to mention earlier is that Silas had ditched school half a day Monday, all day Tuesday, half a day Wednesday. He's like, it's not like you. What's going on, bro? And so Silas is like, because they came to on Wednesday. So they were already doing some shenanigans Monday, Tuesday. And so he's like, I don't even know what the heck is going on. Like, this is kind of weird. He finally decides that he's going to open up that letter. I open the envelope and find several pages inside folded together. Across the front, it reads, open immediately. I unfold the pages. My eyes instantly fall to the two names written at the top of the page, Charlie and Silas. It's addressed to both of us. It's kind of what that would mean. I keep reading. If you don't know why you're reading this, then you've forgotten everything. You recognize no one, not even yourselves. Please don't panic and read this letter in its entirety. We will share everything we know, which right now isn't much. What the hell? My hands begin to shake as I continue reading. We aren't sure what happened, but we're afraid if we don't write it down, it might happen again. At least with everything written down and left in more than one place, we'll be more prepared if it does happen again. On the following pages, you'll find all the information we know. Maybe it will help in some way. Charlie and Silas. I stare at the names at the bottom of the page until my vision is blurry. I look at the names at the top of the page again. Charlie and Silas. I look at the names at the bottom. Charlie and Silas. We wrote ourselves a letter. It makes no sense. If we wrote ourselves a letter, I immediately flip to the pages that follow. This is so so bad. The first 2 pages are things I already know. Our addresses, our phone numbers, where we go to school, what our classes are, our siblings' names, our parents' names. I read through it all as fast as I possibly can. My hands are shaking so badly by the 3rd page, I can hardly read the handwriting. I skip over all the familiar information until I get close to the end of the 3rd page. The first memories either of us can recall are from Saturday, October 4th, around 11 a.m. Today is Sunday, October 5th, but we're going to make a copy of this letter for ourselves. We will also mail copies in the morning just to be safe. I flip to the 4th page, and it's dated Tuesday, October 7th. It happened again. This time it happened during history class on Monday, October 6th. It appears to have happened at the same time of day, 48 hours later. We don't have anything new to add to this letter. We both did our best to stay away from friends and family the past day, faking illnesses. We've been calling one another with any information we know. But so far, it seems this has happened twice. The first time being Saturday, the second time being Monday. I wish we had more information, but we're still kind of freaked out that this is happening and aren't sure what to do about it. We'll do what we did last time and mail copies of this letter to ourselves. Also, there will be a copy in the glove box of Silas's car. I never checked the glove box. We'll keep the original letters somewhere safe so no one will find them. But what do you mean? You're mailing them back in. What does the original ones matter if they're identical copies? We're afraid if anyone sees the letters or if anyone suspects anything, they'll think we're going crazy. Everything will be in a box on the back of the 3rd shelf of Silas's bedroom closet. If this pattern continues, there's a chance it could happen again on Wednesday at the same time. In case it does, this letter should arrive to both of you that day. If you find anything out that will help, add to the next page and keep this going until we figure out what started it and how to stop it. I look at the clock. It's 10:57. It's Friday. This happened to us almost 48 hours ago. My chest is heaving. This can't be happening. 48 hours will be up in less than 3 minutes. I flip open my console and search for a pen. I don't find one, so I yank open the glove box right on top of a copy of the same letter with Charlie's and mine's name on it. I lift it up. There are several pens, so I grab one and flatten the paper out against the steering wheel. It happened again, I write. My hands are shaking so bad I drop the pen. I pick it up again and keep writing. At 11 a.m., Wednesday, October 8th, Charlie and I both lost our memories for what appears to be the 3rd time in a row. Well, here's what we've learned in 48 hours. Our fathers used to work together. Charlie's father's in prison. We visited a tarot reading on St. Philip Street. That might be worth checking out again. Charlie mentioned a girl at school, called her Shrimp, said she wanted to talk to her. Charlie has an attic in her bedroom closet. She spends a lot of time in there. We grew up together, but now our families hate each other. They don't want us together. Silas was sleeping with the guidance counselor. Charlie with Brian Finley. We broke it off with both of them. Landon is a good brother. You can probably trust him if you have to. I continue to write. I write about our tattoos, the electric crushed diner, Ezra, and anything and everything I can recall from the last 48 hours. I look at the clock, 10:59. Charlie doesn't know about this letter. If everything in this letter so far is accurate and this really has been happening to us since last Saturday, that means she's about to forget everything she's learned in the last 48 hours. Hey guys, are you f***ing dumb? Did you... Did you need that repeated, do you? Hey, bestie, did you know that they're going to forget everything from the last 48 hours? And I have no idea how to find her, how to warn her. I press the pen to the paper again and I write one last thing. Charlie got into a cab on Bourbon Street last night and no one has seen her since. She doesn't know about this letter. Find her. The first thing you need to do is find her. Please. And we go into part 2. This was originally written in 3 separate parts, 3 separate releases from Colleen and Taryn. Oh God. So this is part 2. Could you imagine part 1 ending on that? With nothing happening? If I would have read 250 pages for nothing to have happened, I'm going into part 2 with these motherfrickers still not knowing anything more than they did the first and from chapter 1. They know stuff, I guess, but there hasn't really been any true progress to the plot or anything. I feel like I'm just screaming into the void. I feel like wish I could forget the last 48 hours. Part 2 opens with Silas in his car, chapter 15, with amnesia. Shocker. He doesn't know what's going on. He's just on the side of the road and trying to gather his thoughts, and a police officer knocks on the window. It's his dad's friend. Of course it is. And he's like, "Come on, son, you gotta get off the side of the road, get to school, you got that big game tonight." Silas, still having no idea what's going on, drives a little bit, realizes he has all of these letters and weird pieces of paper on his lap, goes to read them, literally rereads and repeats the exact same letters that we just talked about, and we get a whole entire chapter of him just being confused about who he is and being amazed about having his own body and stuff, and it is just so repetitive and terrible. But he ends up getting a phone call from Jeanette asking if he has found Charlie yet. He's super confused about who Charlie is up until he reads the letters. Finally figures everything out. Cool. So he drives straight over to her house, goes up to the attic and goes digging around trying to find more information and look for her. Turns out the mom is there. The mom called the cops on him. So it's the same cop that just saw him on the side of the road earlier, takes him out of the house, and he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, Charlie's missing. And the mom says, no, she's not. She's at school. And it ends up being this like entire back and forth of him being like, she doesn't even care about her daughter. She doesn't even know that her daughter didn't come home last night. Blah, 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 blah. Dumb stuff. And the cop says, son, the mom's probably right. She's probably at school. Get out of here. In chapter 16, instead of going to school, Silas goes to his house to find more information about himself. He finds some more love letters between him and Charlie. Nothing crazy. It's just yet again, never stop wanting me to hold you like I finally got to hold you last night. Never, never. And just this repeating dumb shit that we've heard 1,000 times by this point. His cell phone rings and it's his dad again yelling at him and talking mad crap. And all Silas can think about is how he doesn't want to be anything like his dad. And his dad reminds him yet again talking about this stupid freaking football game. And I swear to God, if we don't get a full scene talking about this football, if we don't get a play-by-play of this high school game, I'm going to be pissed with the amount that I've had to read about this BS this far. How Silas hangs up on his dad. Chapter ends. We cut to poor Charlie's point of view. This poor girl, God bless, wakes up in a empty prison cell looking room in a hospital gown. She has obviously no idea what's going on, and she doesn't have the luxury of having a phone or letters or anything. She is just confused and scared and alone. And so she ends up hearing some weird noises. She doesn't know if maybe it's like the hum of machinery or a generator or something. And she ends up just like curling into the corner, the bed in the corner of the room, and just waiting to see what happens next. And then back in Silas's POV in chapter 18, homie finally decides to make it to school, digs through his locker, digs through Charlie's locker, again, trying to find more information, I guess. I don't know. I'm so checked out at this point. Gets yelled at by a friend. Jeanette runs into him and yells at him about not finding Charlie. And then Jeanette talks about calling the cops. He's like, I already talked to the cops, with your mom. And she's like, yeah, okay, I'm calling the cops again. Like, my mom's worthless. Okay, cool. Cool. He sees Shrimp. Her name is Cora. She has a name, everybody. It took us until this point to learn, but she does, in fact, have a name. And when Silas approaches her and is like, hey, have you seen Charlie? Do you know where she's at? Cora looks really, really scared. And she's like, no, is she looking for me? And Silas is like, no, but I need to talk to you. Can you meet me after school? Like, just for a couple minutes, we need to talk. This freaks Cora out even more. And she's like, no. Silas is like, no, seriously, yeah, just meet me at my locker after school. And just walks away before this girl can say anything else or say no or give any other additional context. He just goes scurrying off. And then his name gets yelled again by the fourth person. He's been at school for 5 minutes and everybody's yelling at him. But this time, it's the freaking guidance counselor. Pulls him into her office again. But this time, she's mad. And she's like, you want to explain what happened last Friday? You want to explain why you punched my dad in the face? Yeah. Her dad is Brian's dad. Charlie's banging Brian. Brian's sister is Avril, the guidance counselor, who Silas is banging. Hello? But also, that happened last Friday. Why didn't she yell at him about all that on Wednesday? Did she not? Why is she just now confronting him about hitting her father at his diner thing? Like, why is this just now happening? I don't know. And so anyway, she's like, he keeps trying to blow her off and stuff. And she's like, I can't believe that you would do this to me. Did this have to do with her? Did this have to do with Charlie? She says, my father was offering her a job, I don't know what you're up to, Silas. She spins and walks back to the window and then throws her hands up in frustration and faces me. First, you waltz in here 3 weeks ago and act like Charlie's destroying your life because of her involvement with Brian. You make me feel sorry for you. You even make me feel guilty for being his sister. And then you use that to manipulate me into kissing you. And once I finally cave, you show up every single day for more. And then you go to my father's restaurant and attack him, and then follow that up by breaking things off with me. She takes a step back and puts her hands against her forehead. Do you realize how much trouble I could be in? Silas, I liked you. I risked my job for you. Hell, I risked my relationship with my own brother for you. I'm an idiot, she says. I'm married. I'm a married woman with a degree, and here I am messing around with a student simply because he's attractive, and I'm too damn foolish to know when someone is using me? Oh my god, dude. If you tell anyone about this, I'll make sure my father presses charges against you. And then she's like, leave. And if you need a counselor for the rest of the school year, do us both a favor and transfer schools. What is this? What is this nonsense, dude? It's so... In chapter 19, good God, we go back to Charlie. This poor girl wakes up in this room, the door opens, and my breathing gets faster as I squirm against the wall. A foot, plain white tennis shoes, and then the smiling face of a woman. A foot, plain white tennis shoes. Why would we list it that way? It makes it sound like she only has one shoe on, and then it's her bare foot. Why... Yeah, I'm not. You know what? It doesn't matter. She comes in humming. Kicking the door closed behind her, I relax a little. She looks like a nurse, dressed in pale yellow scrubs. Her hair is dark and pulled back in a low ponytail. She's older, maybe in her 40s. For a brief second, I wonder how old I am. My hand travels up to my face as if I could feel my age on my skin. The nurse had brought her lunch. She asks where she is. She cocks her head to the side as she hands me a plastic cup of water. You're in St. Bartholomew Hospital, don't you remember? I stare at her. Am I supposed to? If I ask her questions, she may think I'm crazy, and by the looks of things, I may already be crazy. I don't want to make things worse, but she sighs. Look, I'm trying really hard with you, kid, but you have to do better this time. We can't have any more incidents. I'm a kid. I cause incidents. That must be why I'm locked up here. I tilt the cup till I feel the pill, till I feel the pill on my tongue. I tilt the cup till I feel the pills on my tongue. She hands me the water and I drink it. I'm thirsty. Eat up, she says, clapping her hands together. I pull the tray toward me. I am very hungry. Would you like to watch some television? I nod. She's really nice, and I would like to watch some television. She pulls a remote control out of her pocket and switches it on. The show is about a family. They're all sitting around a table having dinner. Where is my family? I'm starting to feel sleepy again. So stupid. In chapter 20, Silas decides he's gonna, try to go to this whole game situation that's going on and go to the gym and, I don't know, talk to people or figure some stuff out. But he stops by a classroom and he's going through all of the letters in his bag, like all of the stuff that he's been able to compile and, all of the messages and whatnot from, Charlie, that he and Charlie have been writing themselves. And he comes across one of the letters Charlie's father wrote to her, and he reads that first. It's literally just a letter from him in prison and saying that he misses her. And he says, anyway, I wanted to talk to you about something important, so please listen to me. I know you've known Silas for a very long time. He's a good boy. I don't blame him for what his father did, but you have to stay away from that family. I don't trust them. Silas is just a pawn in his father's game. I'm afraid they'll use you to get to me. Promise me, Charlie, that you'll stay away from them. I love you. Dad. I place the letter in a new pile to keep it separate. If I keep all the letters that could mean something in their own pile, then if we lose our memories again, we won't have to waste time reading the letters that serve no purpose. I open another letter that looks like it's been read 100 times, and it's just, again, more love letters between the two of them. All repetitive. I don't care to read about 17-year-olds being in love with each other. I'm sure there's some important character building and backstory that's contained within these. I don't give a shit. You can read it yourself if you want to. But in general, though, what's in the letters, if you do care to know for the sake of this, it's just more information about her dad's arrest and prison sentence and how their house got seized by the bank to pay off his debts. And how much she misses her old life because, you woke up, the breadwinner's gone, and you owe a bunch of money for him. And so they go from living this, very lavish lifestyle, like Nash's family, to the situation that they're in now, or Silas's family, to the situation that they're in now. And he just, from all of this, he's like, you know what would help? I think I need to go see her dad in prison. I'll get all of my answers there. That's the logical next step in all of this. No idea where Charlie is. F that B. She'll figure it out, I guess. I need to go talk to her father? Dad? But first, he's like, I need to talk to Cora. I need to talk to Shrimp. Chapter 21, back in Charlie's POV. She's still locked in this freaking room, but she's having dreams about a boy who visits and gives her food, and they sing One Direction together, and they kiss, and then she wakes up. And she's like, questioning if this was a memory or a dream. I don't know what kind of pills that lady has given her, but good God. Chapter 22. Back to Silas's POV. School's been out for over 15 minutes. The hallway's empty, and yet here I stand still waiting for the shrimp to show up. I'm not sure what I would even ask her if she did show up. I just got a feeling when I saw her, a feeling that she was hiding something. Maybe it's something she doesn't even realize she's hiding, but I want to find out what she knows. Why she hates Charlie so much. Why she hates me so much. Why do you think she hates you? She was afraid of you. He gets a text from his brother to show up to practice. He's like, well, I guess the shrimp's not going to show up anyway, so I at least got to do this. And so he wanders around the school until he finds the locker rooms. In the locker room, he finds that like little box of letters again. And this time he reads one. Good God, this is long. It's dated last week, just one day before we lost our memories for the first time. Dear Charlie, well, I guess this is it. The end of us. The end of Charlie and Silas. At least it didn't come as a surprise. We've both known since the day your father was sentenced that we wouldn't be able to move past that. You blame my father. I blame yours. They blame each other. Our mothers, who used to be best friends, won't even speak each other's names out loud. But hey, at least we tried, right? We tried hard. But when two families are torn apart like ours were, it's a little difficult to look ahead at the future we could possibly have and actually be excited about it. Yesterday, when you approached me about Avril, I denied it. You accepted my denial. I denied it. You accepted my denial because you know I never lie to you. Somehow you've always seemed to know what's going on in my head before I even do, so you never question whether or not I'm telling the truth because you already know. What? And that's what bothers me, because you so easily accepted my lie when I know you know it's true. When I know you know it's true. But that leads me to believe I was right. You aren't seeing Brian because you like him. You aren't seeing him behind my back to get revenge on me. The only reason you're with him is because you're trying to punish yourself. You accepted my lie because if you broke up with me, it would relieve you of your guilt. Hello? You don't want to be relieved of your guilt. Your guilt is your way of punishing yourself for your recent behavior. And without it, you won't be able to treat people the way you've been treating them. I mean, hello? Okay, I'm just going to I wasn't going to read this, but I'm actually growing ever more confused. And also, I'm reading this book in real time as I'm filming this, so that's why this is almost like a reading vlog at this point. I know this is about you, because me and you, Charlie, we're the same. No matter how tough you've been trying to act lately, I know deep down you have a heart that bleeds in the presence of injustice. I know that every time you lash out at someone, it makes you cringe inside, but you do it because you think you have to. Because your father is manipulating you into believing that if you are vindictive enough, people won't touch you. You told me once that too much good in a person's life will stunt their growth. You said pain is necessary because in order for a person to succeed, they first must learn to conquer adversity, and that's what you do. You deliver adversity where you see fit. Maybe you do it to gain respect, to intimidate. Whatever your reasons, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch you tear people down in order to build yourself up. I'd rather love you at the bottom than despise you at the top. It doesn't have to be this way, Charlie. You're allowed to love me despite what your father says. You're allowed to be happy. What you can't allow is for negativity to choke you until we no longer breathe the same air. Okay, this is all really, really stupid, but I'm not gonna lie, I did love that sentence. I want you to stop seeing Brian, but I also want you to stop seeing me. I want you to stop trying to find a way to free your father. I want you to stop allowing him to mislead you. I want you to stop resenting me every time I defend my own father. You act one way in front of everyone else, but at night when I'm on the phone with you, I get the real Charlie. It's going to be absolute torture not dialing your number and hearing your voice before I go to sleep each night, but I can't do this anymore. I can't only love that part of you, the real part of you. I want to love you when I talk to you at night, but I also want to love you when I see you during the day, but you're beginning to show two different sides of yourself. And I only like one of those sides. What is this? As much as I try, I promise there's only 2 more paragraphs. As much as I try, I can't possibly imagine how hurt you must be since your father went away, but you can't let that change who you are. Please stop caring about what other people think. Stop allowing your father's actions to define you. Figure out what you did with the Charlie I fell in love with, and when you find her, I'll be here. I told you before I'll never stop loving you. I'll never forget what we have, but lately it seems that you have forgotten. I've enclosed some pictures I want you to go through. Hopefully they'll help remind you of what we could have someday. A love that wasn't dictated by our parents or defined by our family status. A love we couldn't stop if we tried. A love that got us through some of the hardest moments in our lives. Never forget, Charlie. Never stop. Silas. Okay, hold on. Pause. I'm going to put this down for a second. You're still going through the hardest times in your life. Her father just went to prison. You're what? Okay. And okay. You know what? We're going to keep reading. I'm not even going to unpack that. I'm just going to hope to God that maybe that'll make more sense in another chapter or two, even though I know for a freaking fact that it won't. That just felt like the biggest waste of time ever, though. We open chapter 23 with Silas trying to go to this whole football game thing. And when he gets ready and goes out on the field, though, his little brother brings up a good point, that he's probably the number one suspect in Charlie's disappearance since he's the last one to see her. And upon realizing that this is a valid point, he freaks out, runs back into the locker room to try and get dressed to go back to trying to find Charlie, and instead can't find his backpack. His backpack is gone. So he starts tearing apart all of the lockers trying to find it, because ultimately it's full of letters from them. Like, it's pretty incriminating information. Tearing apart everything. The coach finally comes in, starts freaking out at him about tearing this stuff up and not being on the field for this like pre-game practice. And Silas says, okay, yeah, coach. Coach leaves. Silas just goes out to his car and drives away because he has to find Charlie. And then in chapter 24, we're back with her. And now the nurse is bringing her dinner on a little food tray. She keeps asking why she's there. Like, what did she do? And the nurse is not giving her any type of answer and is now being very, very cold toward her. And so Charlie takes the plate, which is a porcelain plate, and she's like, I don't know why they would give patients porcelain. Like, this is really crazy. Throws it across the room. It shatters. She starts laughing maniacally, like deep, guttural, maniacal laughter. And she's like, wow, I really am crazy. This must be why I'm here. Takes a shard of the porcelain plate and starts to threaten said nurse. Then the door slams open. She gets a prick in her neck and she passes out. So like, hey, what the hell is happening? Chapter 25. Silas checks his phone. He finds the picture that he took of Charlie when she was standing next to the cab in Bourbon Street, and it's the same area where they had visited the whole tarot shop thing. He realizes this, and he's going to use this as a marker to try and find her, like try and find this area, and maybe, I don't know what exactly he's expecting to do, but he's going to go to the scene of the disappearance and see if he can find some clues with his 17-year-old amnesia, not remembering anything looking ass. He's going to see what he can do. Using this information, though, he's able to find his tarot shop. So he goes in there, sees the tarot card reader lady, and he says that he's not here for a reading, that he's looking for someone. She's like, oh, the girl? He says, yeah, we were here last night. And the lady says, yeah, I remember. She says, a small smirk plays at the corner of her mouth. I watch as she separates the cards into stacks. She lifts her head, and her face is expressionless. But that only makes one of us, doesn't it? What the hell? The statement sends chills over my arms. I take 2 quick steps forward and grab the back of the empty chair. How do you know that? I blurt out. She motions to the chair again. This time I sit. I wait for her to speak again to tell me what she knows. She's the first one to be clued in on what's happening to me. My hands begin to shake. Please, I tell her, if you know something, please tell me. She begins to shake her head slowly back and forth, back and forth. It's not that easy, Silas, she says. She knows my name. I want to scream victory, but I still don't have any answers. Last night, your card was blank. I've never seen that before. She runs her hand across a stack of cards, smoothing them out in a line. I've heard of it. We've all heard of it happening, but I don't know anyone who's actually seen it. Blank card. I feel like I remember reading that in our notes, but it doesn't help when I no longer have the notes in my possession. And who is she referring to when she says, we've all heard it? What does it mean? Can you tell me? How do I find Charlie? My questions tumble out of my mouth and trip over each other. That picture, she says, why are you so curious about that house? I open my mouth to tell her about the picture in Charlie's room, but I clamp shut. I don't know if I can trust her. I don't know her. She's the first one to know what's going on with me. That could be an answer, or it could be an indication of guilt. If Charlie and I are under the same sort of spell, she's probably one of the few who would know how to do something of that magnitude. And so the house thing that she's talking about in the picture is inside of the store. There's a photo. Let me find it. Yeah, I recognize the photo hanging on the wall, the picture of the gate. It's here for decoration, not something for sale. I lift up on my toes until my fingers grab at the frame and I pull it down to inspect it closer. The gate is tall, guarding a house in the background that I can barely make out in the picture. In the corner of one of the massive columns attached to the gate is the name of the house, Jamais Jamais. I don't speak French, don't yell at me, but it means never never. And of course it freaking does. But that's the house that they're talking about, or that he's like referencing in this moment. I was just curious about the name. I say, lying to her, what? Lying to her about my inquiry of the house and the picture. What else can you tell me? She continues realigning the stacks, never flipping them over. What I can tell you, the only thing I will tell you, is that you need to remember what it is that someone so desperately wanted you to forget. You may go now. I am of no further help to you. What the He says there has to be something. I can't find Charlie. I can't remember anything. I don't even know where to start looking. You have to give me more information than this. She simply tilts her head and smiles. Silas, the answer to your questions lie with someone who is very close to you. You may go now. You have a lot of searching to do. Very close to me. My father, Landon. Who else was I close with beside Charlie? I glance at the beaded curtain and then back at her. She's already walking away toward a door in the back of the building. I watch her as she leaves. I run my hands up my face. I want to scream. In chapter 26, Charlie wakes back up after getting the whole prick in the neck and like passing out thing. And this time the nurse is in there telling her to behave and takes her into the bathroom to shower. When she leaves this room though, she realizes that she is not in a hospital. She is in fact in just a regular ass house, which is horrifying. So she's in the bathroom and starts digging around and finds this like rusted metal pipe just sticking out of the wall. So she starts the shower and starts like wriggling this little piece of metal out of the wall and like tucks it in her underwear band so that she'll have a weapon on her. But she like realizes she doesn't really have a plan. All she knows is she has to get out of here. And then in chapter 27, Silas's point of view. It's dark now. I've been driving for over 2 hours without a clue of where to go next. I can't go back home. I can't go to Charlie's house. I don't know anyone else. So the only thing I can do is drive. I have 8 missed calls. 2 are from Landon, 1 from Jeanette. The rest are from my father. I also have 8 voicemails, none of which I've listened to yet. And he's just thinking of Charlie, if she's alone, you know, what could possibly be happening. This time he does answer the phone call from his little brother. The game just ended and the dad's talking to the police and everybody's all worried about him. And so he opens up to his brother a little bit about what's going on. And his brother tells him they still haven't found Charlie, but Jeanette told the police that she thought that he was acting strange. And so when she found Charlie's things in a backpack inside of your gym locker, she turned them into the police. You had her wallet, Silas, and her phone. So homie looks incredibly guilty with everything going on right now. And the dad tries to interrupt the phone call. And he's like, hey, before you say anything, like before you hang up or before you go deal with dad, Landon, I have to ask you something. Have you ever heard of a place called Jamais Jamais? A silence. I wait for him to respond, but he doesn't. Landon, have you heard of it? Another heavy sigh. It's Charlie's old house, Silas. What the hell is wrong with you? You're on drugs, aren't you? Jesus Christ, Silas. What the hell did you take? Is that what happened to Charlie? Is that why? I hang up the phone while he's still in the middle of spurting off questions. I search Brett Winwood's home address on the internet. Why would... Okay, sure. It takes me a while, but 2 addresses pop up in the results. One I remember because I was just there earlier today. It's where Charlie lives now. The other is one I don't recognize. The address to Jamais. He reads the history of it. House sits on 6 acres overlooking some lake, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The Winwood family occupied the home until 2013 when it went into foreclosure following an investigation into Winwood Nash Financial Group. The home was sold in auction in late 2013 to an anonymous bidder. And so he decides he has to go to this house. I don't know. I'm not sure what the logic is there. Maybe he thinks if Charlie lost all of her memories that she would end up at some place from the past. But that also makes no sense. I don't know. He just feels a draw there. So he goes. The property is located at the end of an isolated road as if the road belongs to the gate, too. After attempting to find a way through the gate, I conclude that there isn't one. Considering I'm wanted for questioning, it's probably best if I don't drive around any more than I have to tonight, so I decide to stay here until morning. So you were suspected of this woman's being missing, and you're just gonna camp out in front of her old house? As if that's not creepy and weird and like looking guilty as heck. In chapter 28, Charlie's POV, she is refusing to take any of the medication, or she's like pretending to, and she's feeling awfully bold because she's got this metal pipe with her now. And so she confronts the nurse to see a real doctor. I'm not taking those until a doctor tells me why I am. Do you understand me? I think she's gonna hit me. My hand feels for the piece of pipe under my pillow, the muscles in my shoulders and back tense, the balls of my feet pressed down on the tile. Hold on, I'm sorry. How are you sitting? Okay, anyway, I am ready to spring if I need to, but the nurse turns, inserts her key into the door, and is gone. I hear the click of the lock, and then I'm alone again. In chapter 29, it never ever stops. Silas dreams about making out with Charlie, and he wakes up to find Landon banging on the window of the car. Thank freaking God it's not the actual police, and Landon is begging him to go to said police, because he's really, really obviously worried about his brother and about Charlie and what kind of crazy shenanigans that they have been up to. He's like, okay, brother, I need you to come in here. Like, we're actually going to talk about some things, okay? I need you to tell me to just answer some questions. What happened between Brett and our father? Brett being Charlie's dad. Landon laughs under his breath. This is ridiculous, he mutters. You know more about it than I do. But then he leans forward and begins to answer my question. An investigation was launched a couple of years ago due to an external audit. And I would just love to know, what 15-year-old boy would say such things. An investigation was launched a couple of years ago due to an external audit. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Dad was cleared and Brett was charged with fraud. Is Dad really innocent? Landon shrugs. I'd like to think he is. His name was dragged through the mud and he lost majority of his business after what happened. He's been trying to rebuild it, but no one trusts him with their money now. But I guess we can't complain. We still fared better than Charlie's family did. Dad accused Charlie of taking some files from his office. What was that all about? They couldn't figure out where the money went, so they assumed Brett or Dad was hiding it in offshore accounts. There was a stretch before the trial where Dad didn't sleep for 3 days. He went through every detail of every transaction and every receipt recorded for the past 10 years. One night, he came out of his office holding a file. He said he found where Brett was keeping the money. He finally had the information he needed to hold Brett responsible for the entire thing. He called his lawyer and told him he would deliver the evidence as soon as he got a couple hours of sleep, and the next day, he couldn't find the files. He blew up on you, assuming you had warned Charlie about it. He believes to this day that Charlie took those files. She denied it, you denied it, and without the evidence he claimed to have, they could never charge Brett on all counts. He'll probably be out of jail in 5 years with good behavior, but from what Dad said, those files would have put him away for life. Can you go to prison for life for money laundering and stuff? Well, I figured there would have been a cap on some of that stuff. Do they just give... I always just assumed life sentences were only have to do with, like, not white-collar crimes, but, like, violent crimes, you know what I mean? And also, how would she, where were they, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It is, why do I even think? Why do I even ask? I don't know why I'm even trying. I'm just telling you what it is, and I shouldn't think any more deep than that. He tells Landon that he's the one who took the files, and Landon's like, I thought you said you couldn't remember anything. He says, I can't, but I made a note about some files I found that I was hiding. Why do you think I would take them if they would have proved Dad's innocence? Landon's like, I don't know. Whoever took them never did anything with them, so the only reason you would have hid them is to protect Charlie's father. And he says, why would I want to protect Brett Winwood? Why do you think why are we even asking why you would want to protect the love of your life's dad? That doesn't even make any sense. And apparently her and her father were really close. Landon tells her, tells him she was a daddy's girl through and through. I think the only person she loved more than you was her father. And so I'm like, yeah, no shit then that you would have protected him. I don't understand anything. And finally he tells his brother, he says, I can't remember how to play football. A smirk plays on Landon's lips. Now that's the first thing you've said today that I actually believe. The other day when we were in a huddle, you seemed lost. You, do that thing. He laughs out loud. So add that to your list. You forgot how to play football. How convenient. And so he adds it to the list. The list being, remember song lyrics. Forgot people we know. Remember people we don't know. Remember how to use a camera. Hate football but am forced to play. Forgot how to play football. This is so stupid. I feel like I'm just wasting my time and my breath. And there's a lot more in this chapter that, whatever. He's just talking about how much that he thinks that he loves her. And that's why we need to find her, starting with her father. What? I still don't know why they think her father is going to help at all in this. I don't understand. And so then he's asking Landon, who bought the house? Landon says, you know who bought the house. It was Janice Delacroix. Delacroix, is that a French name? Yeah, she owns one of the tourist shops downtown, reads tarot or some shit like that. No one knows how she was able to afford the place. Her daughter goes to our school. I stopped writing. The tarot reader? That explains the picture, and also why she wouldn't give me more information on the house, because it seemed weird to her that I was asking about her home. People actually live here? I say, turning around to face him. He shrugs. It's just the two of them, though. Her and her daughter. They probably use a different entrance. Doesn't look like this gate gets open much. I stare past the gate at the house. What's her daughter's name? Cora. He says, Cora Delacroix, but everyone calls her the shrimp. Hold on. What do you mean? I need a whiteboard. So the shrimp's mom is the tarot card reader lady who read them the blank card, and Cora doesn't like them for one reason or another, and we're about to get into it, and a lot of things are about to click into place. But this is like so messy and weird. And then the tarot reader, and so I guess that also explains why the tarot reader lady knew his name and Charlie's name when they came in for a reading and whatnot, and like might be more aware that they obviously are forgetting things if they're not recognizing her. So I'm like, some of this is making a little bit more sense. There's more questions than answers right now, but this is such like a convoluted, weave together piece of craziness. I just need to get to the big reveals and stuff, and then we can move on with life. Are you listening? What do you think the big reveal is going to be?
They're all dead.
They're all dead? Okay, what's your any second guesses? Okay, everybody's dead. I don't think that's a bad guess. You're wrong, but it's not a bad guess.
It's messed up.
Chapter 30. Back to Charlie's POV. She needs to go to the bathroom really bad. They don't let her out. It's a whole thing. Eventually, this girl comes in. She looks like a little kid playing dress up. I eye her warily as she moves across my small room. And Charlie asks where the other nurse is. She says that she had a day off. And she also says that she needs to use the bathroom and asks this young nurse girl if she can take her. She does. And when she comes out of the bathroom, with the pipe and holds it to this young girl's neck and says, "Drop the keys and back up slowly," I say, "or I'll stick this straight into your throat." She nods. The keys clank against the ground, and I advance toward her, my weapon extended to her neck. I push her backward into the room and shove her down on the bed. She falls and cries out. I'm out the door, taking the keys with me. I pull it shut. She flies toward it, her mouth open in a scream. We struggle for a moment, her trying to yank it open while I get the key into the lock and hear the metal click. My hands are shaking as I sort through the keys, trying to find the right one to open the next door. I don't really know what to expect when I step through. A hospital hallway, nurses and doctors. Will someone be there to drag me back into that tiny room? No, there's no way I'm going back. I'll hurt anyone who tries to stop me from getting out of here. I don't see a hospital or staff or anyone else when I open the door. What I see instead is a very impressive wine cellar. Dusty bottles sit in hundreds of little holes. It smells of ferment and dirt. A staircase runs up one side of the cellar, and there's a door at the top. I run for the stairs, stubbing my toe hard on the concrete and feeling wet blood run over my foot. How is a toe bleeding gonna get blood on your foot? I almost slip on it, but I catch the bottom railing in time. How are you happening? Physics? The top of the stairs open to the kitchen. A single light illuminating the counters and floor. I don't pause to look around. I need to find a door. I grab the handle, and this time it's not locked. I cry out in triumph as it flies open. The night air hits me in the face. I breathe in gratefully, and then I run. I wonder who this young teenage girl was that she just locked into this wine cellar. I wonder who it could be. In chapter 31, back with Silas, he's scaling the fence to get onto this property. Landon is on the other side, and he's like, "Hey, you're trespassing. You can't do that." He finally approaches the house. There's a dog there that's growling at him. He and the dog get into a fight, and like, this is the trigger warning thing about like animal death, because like right as the dog is about to like finish attacking him, Charlie appears with her little metal pipe thing and then makes the dog stop attacking him, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And then the two of them start booking it and make a run for it back to Landon, and he has Landon drive the car through the gate so that they can get out. And Silas has Landon drive them to a nearby hotel. And so the whole time, Charlie doesn't know who they are, right? Charlie has no idea who this boy is, other than the fact that they're trying to help her get out of this like hell that she has lived for the last like day and a half, maybe. Day? What are we? We're still Friday night, right? It hasn't even been that long. How many times was she falling asleep and waking up and using the shower and bathroom and stuff? I feel like that was a little mismatched, but that's fine. So regardless, Landon drives them to this hotel room. And there he explains everything to Charlie, including the amnesia loop and the deadline, being like Sunday at 11. So whatever. Yeah, Sunday at 11, they'll forget everything again. And he tells her that he knows that Charlie's nurse is the tarot reader and her helper is Cora. And so exhausted, they agree to set their alarms for 10:30 the next day, and they go to sleep in the same bed, and they cuddle, and they're like, everything's right in the world. So Charlie, the tarot reader, kidnapped her and put her in the basement and the shrimp. And so then I'm thinking about it, and at Friday, that would have been the day. Yeah, it was Friday at 11. He lost his memory and went to school, and that's where he ran into Shrimp. And then she was like, "Oh, is Charlie looking for me?" And was worried about it. But then I was like, "So did you not know that she was locked in the wine cellar at your house? Why did you say that then?" I feel like Taryn and Colleen wrote 2 separate books and ideas and just like threw them together and didn't like consult with each other about what the other one actually said. Because what do you mean it's fine. Again, I feel like I just keep doing that exact same, like, I keep saying the same things. But truly, I don't know why I'm thinking about this so hard. Regardless, before I close my eyes, she readjusts her position slightly and I catch a glimpse of her tattoo. The silhouette of trees is still peeking out of the top of the back of her shirt. I wish there was a letter that would have described the night we got these tattoos. I would give anything to have that memory back, to see what it was like between us when we loved each other enough to believe it was forever. Maybe I'll dream about that night if I fall asleep thinking about it. I close my eyes, knowing this is exactly how it's supposed to be. Charlie and Silas, together. I don't know why we ever started drifting apart, but I'm certain of one thing. I'll never allow it to happen again. I press a soft kiss to her hair, something I've probably done a million times, but the drunken, one-winged moths fluttering around in my stomach make it feel like the very first time. Good night, Charlie, baby. And so then also for him to say, I don't know why we started to drift apart, as if my guy does not have 47 million letters describing exactly why. You remember earlier when I read that like fucking 42 paragraph letter talking about how she's not the same person anymore? Did he not read it this time around? Or is he also confused about what the fuck he was talking about? Is he as confused as I was? In chapter 32, they wake up the next morning. They have their little somewhat domestic bliss in this like hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, and decide that they like review all of these notes and take some extra ones leading up to 11 o'clock. And so right at 10:59, they start to kiss each other because they're like, maybe if we go into the loop, we'll remember it. We'll start it off differently this time. And then that goes into part 3. The clock turns. He presses his mouth to mine and kisses me deeply. And I, ellipses, into part 3. Chapter 33 starts the same as the other parts. Or is anybody surprised? Charlie has no idea what's going on, and we get to relive the exact same sentences and the exact same sentiments of not understanding what anything is or who this strange teenage boy is beside her, and she's kind of freaked out about it. They have this whole back and forth, getting her caught up on everything that's going on, because it turns out Silas did not forget his memories. And we find this out in chapter 34, where I make a quick check of the hotel room as Charlie and Landon file out. I grab the empty trash sack out of the small can under the desk and shove all of our notes into it. When I'm certain to have everything, I follow Charlie and Landon outside. Okay, this review is officially taking so much longer than I thought it would, so we're going to start reading a lot less and summarizing a lot more. So, like I said, chapter 34, he has his memory, miraculously, somehow. I don't know. How did he solve the curse, but not Charlie? I don't know. So, the 3 of them pile into the car, and on the dashboard, there's a note telling them to go to the police station to get Charlie's backpack? Yeah, to pick up Charlie's backpack. I thought it was his backpack that got taken. Or did he have her backpack? You know what? I don't care. Turns out, don't care. So they go to the police station. Charlie walks in. The police are like, oh my God, girly pop, where have you been for the last 3 days? You've been missing. Like, this is absolutely crazy. So she takes back for like interrogation for a little while. She comes back out and they go ahead and take her home. And then she comes out with Jeanette. Turns out it's kind of awkward because Jeanette and Landon also dated. So there is just like... If you're visually, I don't know what this motion is, but this is what I feel like all of the relationships in this book are. And it's just like absolutely ridiculous. And so they all pile into the car because they're going to go on a field trip to the state prison to go and visit her father. Because again, for some godforsaken reason, there is a belief that he holds the key to all of these secrets. I don't know why. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I skimmed over the logic that was behind why they feel like her father would know anything, but I don't know. It's a 3-hour drive to the prison though, and Charlie reads this like really long letter that's addressed to her from Silas talking about them getting their tattoos And, I'll never love anyone like I love you. And if the worst is to ever happen and we grow apart, I'll never regret this tattoo. You've been a huge part of my life for 16 years I've been alive. And whether we end up together in the end or not, I want to remember this part of my life. And maybe these tattoos were more of a commemorative thing than an assumption that we'll spend the rest of our lives together. Either way, I'd hope that 15 years from now, we'll look at these tattoos and be grateful for this chapter in our lives. And there won't be an ounce of regret whether we're together or not. Okay. Yeah, hate that. And then she reads a letter that just continues to just read letters and them confessing their love to each other back and forth. And I don't care. I feel like if I was invested in the love story, I might give a shit. But again, the fact that we're talking about two 17-year-old children, or that one was written when they were 16, I don't want it. I don't want to read it. I don't care. It's just going to read cheesy and stupid to me. The one thing, though, is the very ending. I flipped to the very last page of my diary. It's probably the thing I should have read first, but I wanted some context. There are 2 entries for this day, so I start with the first one. Friday, October 3rd. So this is the day before they first wake up with the amnesia thing. Day, your dog gets run over. Day, father goes to prison. Day, you have to move out of your childhood home and into a dump. Day, your mother stops looking at you. Day, your boyfriend punches someone's dad. All of the shittiest days of my life I don't even want to talk about. By next week, everyone else will be, though. Everything just keeps getting worse. I'm trying so hard to fix things, to make them right, keep my family out of the gutter, even though that's exactly where we're heading. I feel like I'm swimming against the big wave and there's no way to win. People at school are looking at me differently. Silas says it's all in my head, but it's easy for him to believe that. He's the one with the father. His life is still intact. Maybe it's not fair of me to say this, but I get so mad when he tells me everything is going to be all right because it's not. How can I be with someone whose family despises me? My dad isn't around for them to hate, so they transferred it all to me. My dad is rotting in prison while they walk around and carry on with their lives like he doesn't even matter. What they did to my family matters, and everything is not going to be all right. My dad hates Silas. How can I be with someone who is tied to the person who locked him up? It makes me feel so sick. Despite all of this, it's so hard for me to walk away from him. When I get angry, he says all the right things, but I know deep in my heart that this isn't good for either of us. Silas is so stubborn, though. Even if I try to break up with him, he wouldn't let me. It's like a challenge to him. I act like I don't care. He acts like he doesn't care. I start cheating on him with his mortal enemy. He starts cheating on me with his mortal enemy's sister. He hears I'm at a diner with friends. He shows up with his friends. We're volatile together. We weren't always like this. It all started when everything came to a head with our fathers. Before that, if anyone would have told me I'd do everything I could to get rid of him one day, I would have laughed in their face. Who would have thought that our lives that fit so perfectly together would almost overnight become unrecognizable? Have I been saying his name like that the whole time? Silas's. Sorry, there was an S, apostrophe S, and it really done fucked me up right there. It was real bad. Silas's and Charlie's lives don't fit together anymore. It's too hard now. It's taking more effort than either of us is capable of. I don't want him to hate me. I just don't want him to love me anymore. So I've been acting different. It's not that hard to act different because I actually am different after all of this. But I've been letting him see it instead of hiding it. I'm mean. I didn't know I was capable of being this mean. And I'm distant and I'm letting him see me flirt with other guys. A few hours ago, he punched Brian's dad when he overheard him tell another customer that I was Brian's girlfriend. I'm not sure we've ever gotten in that big of a fight before. I wanted him to yell at me. I wanted him to see me for what I really am. I wanted him to see he can do much better. Instead, right before they threw him out of the diner, he took a step toward me. He bent until his mouth was at my ear and he whispered, "Why, Charlie? Why do you want me to hate you?" My sob caught in my throat as he pulled away from me. He held my gaze as he was escorted outside. The look in his eye, it was one I've never seen before. It was full of indifference, as if he finally stopped having hope. And based on the text I just received from him before I began this journal entry, I think he's finally done fighting for us. His text said, "I'm on my way to your house. You owe me a proper breakup." He's finally fed up with it all, and we're over, really over. And I should be glad because this was my plan all along, but instead I can't stop. crying. Yeah, in chapter 36, she decides that she's going to share, she had 2 entries, right? The first one on Friday and then the second one. And she decides that she's going to read the second entry out loud in the car to Silas and their siblings. It's only been 15 minutes since I last wrote in this journal. As soon as I closed it, Silas texted me and said he was outside. Since my mother doesn't allow him in our house anymore, I walked outside to hear what he had to say. And he said, "Can I ask you just one question? Charlie, are you sure this is what you want?" I said, "Yes." His eyes popped open at the steadfastness in my response. My heart ached for what he was trying to hide in his expression. The shock, the realization that he wasn't going to talk me out of it. He tapped his fist on the car twice and then shoved himself away from me. I immediately stepped around him, wanting to go inside my house while I still had the strength to let him leave. I kept reminding myself why I was doing this. We weren't a good match. He thinks my father is guilty. Our families hate each other. We're different now. When I reached my front door, Silas said one last thing before getting into his car. "I won't miss you, Charlie." His comment shocked me, so I turned to look at him. "I'll miss the old you. I'll miss the Charlie I fell in love with, but whoever this is that you're turning into," he waved his hand flippantly up and down my body, "is not someone I'm going to miss." He climbed inside his car and slammed the door. He backed out of the driveway and peeled away, his tires screeching against the streets of my slum neighborhood, and now he's gone. A small piece of me is angry that he didn't try harder. Most of me is relieved that this is finally over. All this time, he's done everything he can to remember how things used to be between us. He's convinced himself that they can be the way that way again one day. While he spends all his time trying to remember, I spend all mine trying to forget. I don't want to remember how it feels to kiss him. I don't want to remember how it feels to love him. I want to forget Silas Nash and everything in this world that reminds me of him. So in chapter 37, Charlie's POV, we're at the prison. She's the only one that's allowed to go and see her father just because she's the only one that's like old enough, I guess, even though technically she's underage. She's the only one that's like blood related, whatever. She goes in there. Obviously the dad is pissed and, says that she's, kind of turning on the family because she's pursuing this relationship with Silas. And then is also talking about how he's heard that she's been acting weird at school. I don't know. And that maybe she's on drugs, and also says that he knows that she got caught trespassing on Jamais, which is crazy. She gets pissed at this accusation of trespassing. And so then she's like, who would tell him that I was trespassing anyway? The tarot reader? It was her house that I was in. To my knowledge, we didn't tell anyone what had happened. We just went straight to the hotel last night according to our notes. So many things run through my mind and I try to sort through them all. And so he asks explicitly, he's like, why were you on our old property? She says, and instead she turns, and so she asks for a drink. He hands her some quarters. She makes some comment. And then she's like, I look at this man and I don't feel anything. Like maybe if I had Charlie's memories, I would see him as a father. But right now, all I see is a criminal, a beady-eyed, pale excuse for a man. And then she drops her soda. Every muscle in my body weakens with the realization. I think back to a description either me or Silas wrote in our notes, a physical description of the shrimp, of Cora. They call her the shrimp because she has beady eyes and skin that turns 10 shades of pink when she talks. Shit. Brett is Cora's father? Girl, what the hell? And so she says, let's play a game, I tell him. Let's pretend I've lost my memory. I'm a blank slate. I'm putting things together I may not have seen otherwise in my prior adoration of you. Are you following? Not really, he says. She says, did you happen to father another daughter? I don't know, maybe one with a crazy mother who would hold me against my will? His face turns white. He immediately starts to deny, turns his body away from me and calls me crazy, but I saw the panic on his face. I'm onto something. Did you hear the last part of my sentence, or are you just focused on keeping appearances? She kidnapped me. She kept me locked in a room in our old house. She found you trespassing on her property, he says. She said you were acting irate. You had no idea where you were. She didn't want to call the police because she's convinced that you were doing drugs, and so she kept you there to detox. She had my permission, Charlie. She called me as soon as she found you in her house. I'm not on drugs, I tell him, and who in their right mind would hold someone against their will? Would you rather she called the police on you? You were talking crazy. You broke into her house in the middle of the night. And that girl is my half-sister, Cora. He says it's in your best interest. It's in your best interest to be honest with me. Silas and I came across the file Clark Nash had been desperately searching for since your trial. He doesn't even flinch. His poker face is too perfect. He doesn't ask me what file I have. He just says, yes, She's your half-sister. I had an affair with her mother years ago. She asks if the mom knows. She found out after we lost the house. And then Charlie asks why they live in the house I grew up in. Did you give it to them? This question turns him a light shade of pink. He pops his jaw and his eyes dart left to right. His voice is quieter when he speaks so that only I can hear him. That woman was a client of mine, Charlie, and a mistake. I broke it off with her years ago, a month before she found out she was pregnant. We came to an agreement of sorts, that I would be present financially, but nothing else. It was better for everyone that way. So what you're saying is you bought her silence? Charlie, I made a mistake. Believe me, I've paid for it tenfold. She used the money I'd been sending her all those years to purchase our old house in auction. She did that just to spite me. And then it's this whole dramatic thing where she tells him that she's dating Silas again, and he freaks out, and then she says, have a good life, bye. And storms out. In chapter 38, Silas's POV, Charlie comes storming out of the prison and tells Janet about their half-sister Cora. So he takes her for a little walkabout to get some of her energy out before this drive home, and so she's not just this raging mess in the car. And she goes on to tell him yeah, they weren't nice to me necessarily, but they had every opportunity to hurt me really badly when I was locked up in this house. I'm pretty sure Cora's just a neglected child, and the mom, Janice, the, whatever, affair partner lady, she's just bitter. But then I'm that still doesn't explain why exactly they kidnapped her in the first place. And I also don't know why. Maybe she actually did wander into the house. Maybe that was true. She wasn't on drugs. Maybe she just didn't remember. But if she was the tarot reader, then she would have seen her there. I still think she kidnapped her. I don't think she just wandered up into that house. But what do I know? I still don't understand how any of that happened, but it's fine. It's fine. The point being, though, is she's I still don't understand why any of this is happening. None of this explains the amnesia, though. And then in chapter 39, it's not really my fault that the universe is punishing me, us, Silas and me. I keep forgetting that Silas is screwed too, which probably means I'm a narcissist. Great. I think about the sister in the car with me who's having a really shitty birthday, and I'm in the half-sister who lives in my old house with her questionable mother. According to my journals, I've been torturing that girl for a decade. I'm a bad person, and I'm an even worse sister. Do I even want to get my memories back? Oh my god, this is so dumb. So they go to an arcade to go and celebrate or something, and I guess this is supposed to be a heartwarming side moment with the characters. I don't know. I don't care. Chapter 40. They finally all drive back to Charlie's house. When they get there, he goes straight up into Charlie's room, and she says, wait a second, how do you know where my room is? If we would have just woke up with our memories recently, you shouldn't know any of this information. He says that he has some of his memories, that he has remembered, the previous 48 hours from the last time that the memories reset and whatnot. And then Silas and Landon go back to Jamais Jamais to get Silas's Land Rover, which is a bit wrecked from the previous night. To which I ask, well, I guess they were in Landon's car, because Landon had to have driven there to get him, so they've just been driving in his vehicle. Okay, never mind. I've made it make sense in my own brain. But then they were saying Landon had a permit, and that's why he couldn't drive. But he did drive. I don't know. I'm skimming, and I'm not looking back at it. The point is, though, at the end of this, he comes to this idea. Silas comes to this this theory. Call it a game theory, that what if when we broke up, we screwed with destiny? We were meant to be together, and because we broke up, we just keep forgetting everything every 48 hours until we fall back in love, and I fell back in love with you, and that's why my memories came back. So if you love me again, then you'll get your memories back too, or you'll maintain your memories. He expects her to laugh at this, but she doesn't. They just have this back and forth of I don't know, thinking that maybe this actually is possibly true, that we're soulmates, but external influences ruined us and us as people, and we fell out of love. So it'll keep happening until we set things right again. And she says, do you know what this means? No. If this is true, you only have 36 hours to make me fall in love with you. Blech. Oh, that's so gross. And he says, well, Charlie, baby, we better get started. Ew. And then she says, I don't know you very well, but I can already tell you're gonna have fun with this. This is so gross. And then it's another long-ass letter that I don't care to read, because she wrote a whole journal about a lot of craziness here. In chapter 41, the next morning, they go into the city. He is literally, again, just flirting it up with Charlie the entire time. They end up, dancing in the middle of the street and yelling, literally screaming in the middle of a restaurant when they tell her that they don't serve hot dogs. I don't know. Don't look at me that way. 42, again, this is just a romance story of them falling in love again. They go to some bookstore and he makes her read Tiffany DeBartolo's How to Kill a Rock Star at the top of her lungs. And then they dance. Oh no, this is where they dance. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. So this is where they dance in the street and they start to kiss and Silas is terrified, like in love. He's just so scared to be in love and he's so scared of forgetting the kiss and he wants to make note of it. And on the drive back home in chapter 43, they start talking about why he would have taken his father's files, as if this is still a question. Why are we still asking this question? He obviously took them because he loves her and was trying to protect her dad. I don't understand. I don't understand why this is a fucking thing at all. So whatever, they're at his house, they're in his room, and she's like, he tells her that he is going to quit football. He's like, it's never something that I wanted to do. I was like, is it, or you just don't remember? Because it hasn't been for the last week. Maybe you were like a superstar football guy and you've always loved it, and then just in the last week, you've just decided to completely give up on a dream. But no, he's like, I've never wanted to do it. I want to be a photographer. And it feels like High School Musical. Where you had to pick one or the other or whatever. And instead of doing both, he's like, I'm just going to be a photographer. Now they play another game. It's Charlie Says. So earlier when she yelled in the middle of that restaurant, they were playing Silas Says, and now they play Charlie Says, and it turns into like a strip game, like making out and other stuff, which again, I don't know why we're writing about this about 17-year-olds. I would love for certain authors' hard drives to be inspected. I feel like this is a legitimate concern at this point. We go into chapter 44. It's the next morning. They wake up together. They're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Ezra, do you remember her? She was the housekeeper from like chapter 1. She makes them French toast. It's really cute. And they just wait until 11 a.m. to see if they're going to forget their memories again or not. And in chapter 45, 11 a.m. is getting closer and closer, and they decide to just proclaim their love for each other and how happy they are and how they just don't ever want to forget. In chapter 46, Silas's POV, the only sound I hear is the thrashing of my heart. The rest of the world is chillingly silent. My lips are still resting softly against hers. Our knees are touching, our eyes are closed, our breath is mingling between us as I wait to make my next move. I know for a fact that I didn't lose my memory this time. That makes twice in a row, but I have no idea about Charlie. I open my eyes slowly so I can see what's in hers. Her eyes remain closed. I watch her for a few seconds, waiting to see her first reaction will be. She glances around, she's crying, and then all of a sudden she says, "You were wearing black. We were right there. You were wearing a black t-shirt and I was laughing at you because I said it was too tight and it made you look like Simon Cowell. You pinned me to the mattress and then you kissed me." And I nod because somehow I remember every single moment of that. It was our first kiss. We were 14, I say. But I had been wanting to kiss you like that since we were 12. Again, I hate this. I hate everything that's happening. So then they recap more. They have their memories. Yay. He says, "Charlie, you have to promise me something." I wipe her tears away with my thumb. "Promise me you'll never fall out of love with me again because I don't want to forget you all over again. I never want to forget a single second with you." She shakes her head. "I swear I'll never stop loving you, Silas, and I'll never forget." I dip my head until my mouth meets hers. "Never, never." I don't know if you could hear Mr. Read Rant Review, but all he said was so dumb. Dude, what the fuck? That's how the book ends. There's an epilogue from 20 years later. I don't care to read it. I'm sure they have kids and are happily ever after. Who fucking cares? I feel like that was 577 pages, my guy. For what reason? That could have been so much more trimmed down, and it was so extra and stupid. And I hate everything. This might actually be, not in terms of quality, because there has definitely been some Colleen Hoover books that have had significantly more abusive characters or like just horrific situations, like Too Late, for example. That is Colleen Hoover's worst book in terms of like bad relationships. This is Colleen Hoover's worst book in the sense of I hated my life for 577 pages worth. And this was the most like difficult, annoying, boring, every other derogatory bad descriptor word for this book that I could think of. This was not a good time. I don't know what people see in this. 577 pages? I swear to God, if this goes in my Goodreads as the longest book of the year that I read, I'm going to be pissed. if this somehow gets some special ranking in my Goodreads thing for 2025. Yeah, hope you had fun. Hope it was worth it. I swear to God. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for chilling with me. Thanks for listening. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed something out of this. And I don't know what book I'm going to review next. I feel like I say that at the end of all of these videos lately. I am going to be doing another monster romance. Don't you worry. I know you little freaks are so excited for that. I just haven't decided what I'm going to do. But it'll be something. It was so fun. The monster ones are just so silly, goofy, hee hee ha ha fun time. I love them so. So that'll be coming up. Make sure you keep an eye out for the poll for that so you guys can pick what I'll do next week. And I'll have a casual classic. It'll either be The Great Gatsby or something similar. I might honestly have been thinking about just reading some Ray Bradbury because I talk about him all the time and he has short stories and stuff. And so I figured I might just read some of those with you guys and call that a video. We'll see though. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. Thank you guys so much. As always, I am eternally grateful for each and every single one of you. This has been so fun, having the time of my life when I'm not reading Colleen Hoover. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.